You guys, we've had a lot of videos, but they've been super short, fast and furious. And this is basically the last video of today. We're going to go on to factoring when the A value is equal to 1 and when the A value is greater than 1 tomorrow. So this is our last video of the day to conclude add, subtract, multiply, and factor out the GCF of polynomials. So when we're talking about, you've already written this down, when we're talking about factoring out the greatest common factor, we're just saying, what do all three of those terms have in common? Okay, so if they were to just say on the test, what is the greatest common factor of these three terms? Well, you would obviously say, well, they're all multiples of 5, so we would just put 5. And they also all share in common that they all have the variable x. So our greatest common factor would be 5x, and we would call it the day, and we would be done. But there are some questions that will say, factor out the GCF, and then they'll have an expectation that you're going to demonstrate that you've factored out the GCF, and then you've also shown, basically what is left over as a result. So that's what we're quickly going to do right now. So we've already determined, okay, that our GCF is 5x. How did we do that? Well, what I'd like you to do, you've already written this in your notes. I want you to draw a line here with an open parenthesis with 2 spaces here, super easy. And again, we're going to say, what do all three terms have in common? Well, all three of these terms are multiples of 5, so we're going to put 5. And then all three of these terms have the x variable, so our GCF of all three terms is 5x. But we have to put in the what's left over here, what we have left over after factoring out the GCF. This is going to also help us when we are factoring quadratics when the A value is greater than 1, or factoring by grouping. This is a very important skill for us to have. So we factored out the 5x. So the most important question you have to ask yourself at this point is 5x times what gives me 5x cubed? Well, that's going to be x squared, because 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay? What I need you to know, and everybody put a star and write this down. Factoring is the reverse, write this down, or opposite of multiplying. This is what you need to know. Everyone thinks that factoring is like this big, mysterious thing. It's really not. Okay, factoring is just the reverse or the backwards or the opposite of multiplying, and I'm going to show you that in 1 minute, okay? So now 5x times what gives me 5x squared? Well, that's going to be plus 5x. And because 5 times 5 is 25, and 1 plus 1 is 2, okay? And now 5x times what gives me 45x? Well, 5x times 9, okay, gives me 45x. Well, we just factored out the GCF, okay? So I just told you that factoring is the reverse, the backwards, the opposite of multiplying, right? So let me show that to you. We just factored it, right? So if we were to multiply this, if we were to distribute the 5x, 1, 2, and 3, we should wind up back where we started with the original. So if you're ever wondering if you factored properly, if you got the right answer after factoring, well, just multiply and see if you wind up with where you started, okay? So 5x times x squared is going to give you 5x cubed. 5x times 5x is 25x squared, and 5x times 9 is a positive 45x. So is this where we started? Yes. So I just want to remind you that when we go into factoring, let's keep in mind that factoring isn't some big mysterious thing, okay? Factoring is just the opposite of multiplying. You're pulling out the GCF or the factors that were multiplied together to give you that original answer or problem, okay? So this is what we started out with. Let me erase that and show you once again. We started out with 5x cubed plus 25x squared plus 45x. We said factor out the GCF, which was 5x, and we this is what we were left with, right? And just to make sure that we had the right answer, we multiplied, which is the opposite, okay, just to see if we would wind up where we started, and we actually did. So that's how easy it is to factor out the GCF.